time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun popped on the floor with big gold sugary cereal and watch our favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris. Trick or treat! Woo! Smell my feet!
And this morning, for the second episode of our 2021 OCTOONBER celebration, we watched Costume Quest.
And this was suggested to us by GamerSlyRatchet1 via YouTube. Thank you, GamerSlyRatchet.
Yes, thank you. So Costume Quest is based on the game Costume Quest by Double Fine Productions, aired in 2019, developed by Brian Caselli and Will McRobb, produced by Frederator Studios. It's ran so far for 2 seasons, 26 episodes on the Amazon network. And for a short synopsis, the show stars 4 kids facing off against the dark forces lurking in the shadows of their sleepy town of Auburn Pines. To overcome obstacles and achieve their goals, they must learn to unlock and master the magical powers of supernormal costumes, and with each costume comes a new set of transformations and powers. It got to the core of it.
It really did. It really gave us like the whole thing. And from what I understand, the game is semi-similar. I played it one time, but I didn't play it for very long because I assumed that we'll probably stream it sometime. So I was like, you know what? I want to save any fun surprises for that. But I do know that in the game, you also play kids, you go out trick-or-treating, and you put on like costumes and you can upgrade your costumes, and whatever you're wearing and depending on how you upgrade it and stuff like that, you do transform into different things. Like if you got like the robot, I think you can turn into like a big like Gundam kind of dude, I think was what I had. So that's as far as I know. I don't remember how much of the rest of this show actually lines up with the games as far as like, you know, like the monsters and stuff. I definitely don't think the lore of the show with like Una and them, like, I don't think the games go that deep. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I know the first game at least has the same characters who are in this. I don't know if their personalities are all the same, but yeah, it is like a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
2010 was when the first one came out, and then 2014 was when the Costume Quest 2 came out. So there were 2 games, but this series came like well after they had finished.
I didn't realize they came out that long ago. I thought maybe they'd come out in the last couple of years. That really surprises me.
No, I'm not sure if there's been like remasters or anything, but I know I at least have one of them.
We have both on Steam.
Nice.
We've got 1 and 2.
That goes to show you how many of the games that I have not played yet.
Yeah, I just did see that the first one actually went back when it released. It was actually on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. That's crazy.
Oh, geez.
That's like how long ago this was. Wow. All right.
Well, who are some of the actors who played in the show?
Okay, I didn't deep dive far into these actors. The reason being is that most of the actors on the show are relatively young and don't have a whole lot under their belt aside from the adult actors. And some of these adult actors are ones that we've talked about before. So basically, I'm just going to run through the character names and the cast. Ren was voiced by Gabriella Graves. Reynold, Ren's brother, voiced by Sloan Letourneau. Everett, voiced by Isaac Ryan Brown. Lucy, voiced by Ali Urrutia. Norm, voiced by Fred Tetashore. Now, that is a name that I always say this every time he comes up. He voices Soldier 76 in Overwatch, and that makes me happy.
Oh.
So get off my lawn. Like that kind of. That sounded a little more Duke Nukem than 76.
Yeah, totally. That was very Duke-ish.
Yeah, sorry about that. Una was voiced by Carrie Walgren, and Bob, voiced by Christopher McDonald. And those are pretty much the main characters. There's a whole lot of characters in this that come and go, but like, at least from what we watched, the big focus seems to be mainly on these being like the big focal point characters.
Right. So here's a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Costume Quest cereal. This show is Frederator Studios' first project with Amazon. The series is the third video game adaptation by Frederator Studios after Ape Escape from 2008 and Castlevania from 2017.
Whoa.
Which is amazing.
They did an Ape Escape?
An Ape Escape cartoon, yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
I never saw it, but yeah, it happened.
Interesting.
Lastly, Costume Quest development was led by, and this is for the game itself, led by Tasha Harris, Double Fine's lead animator and a former Pixar artist, with Tim Schafer providing support where needed, particularly in the writing. Even though Harris's original concept was not based on a role-playing game, she considers the game to have been influenced by older Nintendo games such as Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, and games that take place in a modern setting like Earthbound and Pokemon.
Nice.
She also stated that she wanted to make a game that was like the RPGs that she loved growing up, but make it modernized so it looks cool and people enjoy playing it now, to take advantage of the growing popularity at the time of titles available as downloadable content. I don't know how well the graphics of the first Costume Quest have aged, though. I don't remember.
I mean, they're okay. I mean, it's like rougher Unity style kind of looking. Like a little rougher polygonal shapes than what you would see in Unity now.
And so Costume Quest, like I said earlier, came out in 2010, the video game. Then there was a DLC called Grubbins on Ice, which was for the last DLC for Costume Quest, the first one, and that led directly into Costume Quest 2, which came out in 2014.
Very nice. Okay.
And I don't know if there's any DLC for Costume Quest 2, but we got to play through them and find out.
Yeah, we should. Now that we're reviewing the cartoon, I feel like we have to play the games.
Definitely. And after watching this cartoon, I really want to play the games too.
Well, before you all go out tricking or treating this weekend, do us here at Nerd Sloth a sweet, sweet Halloween favor and share this episode on social media and tag your friends or anyone that you think would like the show by hitting that share button on your favorite podcast app or the one that you're listening to right now, which I'm assuming is your favorite podcast app. Or send them a link from nerdsloth.com, where you can also find all of our other great shows for this spooky season, like Night Marathon and A Little Spooky, which all have new episodes for you to listen to as you collect your candy, throw out those disgusting orange and black wrapped taffies, and have a happy Hallow weekend. Spooky!
So let's go and jump into the episodes to watch for today's show. The very first one being For the Love of Lincoln, Season 1, Episode 1A. And these are generally two-part episodes. So it's like Part A, Part B, except for the last one we watched, which was the last episode of the series.
Yes.
So in this one, the kids search the town to find this year's must-have Halloween costume until a lurking stranger takes a special interest in their very first costume quest. Oh, man. This one went in such a weird direction.
Yeah.
Even from the start.
I did not know what to really expect. Like I said, I don't know the story of the games or anything, or if this even follows them. I just have a little bit of memory of how the game functions. So I had no idea what to expect going into this, especially when I saw that the big must-have costume of the year that all the kids want is Abe Lincoln Jr., interdimensional mega hero.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So this all takes place in Auburn Pines, but the majority of what we're seeing is taking place around Nougat Town, which was apparently discovered in 1955. And this is kind of like a big theme park, like based on nougat candy.
Yes, they are obsessed with nougat candy. There's a big nougat factory there, which is kind of like the, I guess the big, not really draw. It's like, I guess the big money maker of the town / also, you know, what the town's known for. So it's like that's the big tourist trap epic center of the town.
And so the quest the kids have to go on right now is to find out where they can get these Abe Lincoln Jr. costumes. Otherwise, they risk being the lamest kids on earth, according to social media influencer Rudy Toots.
So funny. Yeah. So like, I get Abe Lincoln Jr. is kind of like, they took like a James Bond Jr. sort of approach to it and then upped it as much as they could, where it looks like Abraham Lincoln, but he's got like all these gadgets, like jetpacks and stuff. He fights like a cyborg duck guy.
I think it's like a toucan.
Yeah.
Cyborg toucan.
I
Or a
think so.
flamingo? I don't know.
I think he referred to him as a duck at one point, though. But
really? Okay.
yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds, and they go as over the top with it as they can, and that is like the new. It's like the coolest thing. This is the Avengers, as far as popularity for the kids right now in this world.
This is the Harley Quinn / Deadpool if this were a convention.
Yeah, exactly. So they try to go get the costumes. It's sold out everywhere. They find one other place that might have something, so they're like, we're gonna go check there. It is like a pawn shop looking place that is called Norms. So they go in there. There's this older guy working, not older, middle-aged dude working there. He finds out they're looking for costumes. He gets really excited for some reason, pulls out this little bitty harmonica, which he plays. And for whatever reason, that opens a hidden room, which in that room is tons of just not even really straight up completed costumes. A lot of it's junk, like just pieces of costumes, accessories and stuff. But most of the kids are pretty excited about it, except for Ren, who is just dead set on that Abe Lincoln Jr. costume. And they all kind of pick something out. Even Ren, who just assembles her own version of the Abe Lincoln Jr. costume, even though it's really sad and pathetic.
Including a Nitro Boost jetpack with dual cannons that she invented for her Abe Lincoln Jr. fanfic.
That is right. Her fanfiction.
Yeah. So Everett is dressed like a robot. Reynold, who is, like you said, Ren's brother, is dressed like a magician. Lucy, a jellyfish. And then, Ren dressed like Abe Lincoln Jr. or like a scrapped together one.
Yes. But then a teenager, or what I think was supposed to be a teenager, opens walks into Norm's, and Norm was in the middle of telling them, hey, first costume, it's on the house. But then he's trying to explain something to them. Like, it seems like he's going from goofy, fun-loving dude to explaining something serious. When this teen walks in, he immediately closes off that room and like shoos them out of there before explaining, and just is kind of like, don't tell anyone you got these costumes here. And they run into that team later, like outside, who is trying to bug them and like asking where they got their costumes and everything. When one of them drops a nougat, and this dude just starts salivating this purple slime and just kind of goes berserk.
He is offering up an Abe Lincoln Jr. costume that they've been seeking, at least Ren especially. So she's willing to give up her fake one, the one that she pieced together, for this new one. And that's when, the nougat gets dropped and he starts drooling purple. And he goes kind of like crazy at that point. That's when it kind of turns, I guess the horror aspect of it starts to come out, because he's just like, come on, kids, give me your costumes, and chasing after them. That's where it starts to really kind of open up into what this series is going to be, as they're hiding amongst the Nougat Town little band, the animatronic band that comes out and plays or whatever.
I like what it is, though. It's like an animatronic band of like, we say animatronic, but they're not animals. They're like robotic nougat prospectors.
Well, animatronic, I think, is just animated electronics. I don't think it's animal electronics.
But when I say animatronic, I'm always thinking of Chuck E. Cheese. But they're nougat, giant pieces of nougat that are also like dressed like prospectors and have accents, but they're in like a band. So that's what we're talking about.
They have like cowboy hats on and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny.
Hiding amongst there, they start to kind of like, after they fool the teenager who was salivating purple, and he starts to walk away. I think it's Everett who's like, his costume starts to glow and he shoots off like a little firework out of the top of his robot suit.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're just like, oh no, I hope he didn't see that.
He's like, you think you saw that?
Yeah. Then he just pops up. This was the jump scare portion. They're all getting kind of cornered. Rin goes back to get her original costume because she had the actual Abe Lincoln Jr. costume on that she was given by the teenager. So once she turns back into the original one that she made, she turns into a big buff Abe Lincoln Jr.
Yes.
Still with her face, throws the bully out of this factory. Then they all transform, and we see as he's like laid out on the ground that he was wearing a human mask the whole time, and it reveals this like green monster face.
Yes, and he's just like, they're back. And we're like, what does that mean? And then we're also teased with like this old woman watching from like the clock tower of the nougat factory as it ends, which we come to find out later her name is Una. But at the moment we don't know what that whole story is. And you know, as far as when the monster says they're back, we don't figure out in what we watched what that's supposed to mean, but I think and I'm sure you have pieced it together, some of what was going on and what that specifically is referring to.
Yeah.
But I think it's revealed in like episodes that we didn't get to watch, but you can kind of piece together some of the lore of what's happening, you know, from just some context clues and stuff that has me very intrigued.
Yeah, even seeing some artwork in Una's
in her house
room,
yeah,
you can kind of tell, just kind of like almost like hieroglyphic type artwork. You're like, oh, okay, so this has happened before, and then Norm or something like this has happened before, and then when Norm was trying to tell them the secret, he's like, 100 years ago, blah blah blah, this is this, and that's when he got cut off. But it's like, so this is kind of something that happens in cycles. It seems like.
Yep. But yeah, it was a really strong first episode.
Right, yeah. It was a lot more than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be just something really like simple and straightforward, but it had like a good amount of intriguing lore to it that made me want to really dive in and keep paying attention to what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the second episode we watched for today's show was Dry Cleaners and Dragons, season 1, episode 10A. This was your pick, I believe.
Yeah, so it was my turn to randomly select, and based on the name itself, I picked it.
I'm glad you did. It actually like pieced together some things for us.
This always happens to us. We always end up picking the right one by accident.
Yeah, it's great. We chain them together randomly so well. So in this one, Rin breaks away from the rest of the group to go on a secret mission with Una, but is she ready to fight side by side with a costume master?
Nope.
No.
Okay, next episode. Next episode is no. This one starts out pretty funny, and I was really confused at first because I didn't realize it was the kids until after. I was like, what? Why are the animatronics now living, breathing pieces of nougat that are singing and playing music like they're not animatronic anymore? It's the kids. They made costumes of the Nougat Prospector band, and now they are like living, breathing chunks of nougat playing music.
And they're singing this song about voting for Una to try to get her, I guess, in charge of the town. This man named Bob's in charge of the town, who we don't really get much information on, but we do end up finding out that he's like the big boss of all the monsters.
Yeah, he's the big bad. Yeah, so what I like about this too, we get introduced a little bit better. I mean, you and I specifically to Una in this, and in that she has a costume that she wears at all times. She just kind of pulls the hood up basically, and then she transforms into this super awesome dragon. Like this big dragon that breathes like this green flame, can fly everywhere. It's really awesome. Rin kind of ditches the others at the little, I don't know what you want to call it, the little voting concert thing, and goes off to help Una try to get back. I say back. They're trying to steal Bob's human suit, which is at the dry cleaner.
Yeah, so that he can't come out and lead the town, since he'll never be able to reveal his face again if they take his costume. That's the idea anyway.
Yes. But so Ren was the singer for their band. So when she leaves, she tells Lucy she can be the singer. I just want to say real quick, Lucy is my favorite character of this entire show. She cracks me up so hard. So Lucy just is so happy. And when it cuts back to her later, she's just doing this screaming death metal stuff. It's so funny.
Just for a little bit of context, Lucy is this tiny Asian girl with glasses.
Yeah, little nerd girl. Super sweet and unassuming, like looks like a little, bookworm kind of girl.
So to hear her singing death metal, oh, it was so fun.
It was very funny. And like everybody was so scared and started leaving.
Yeah, the audience started walking away.
Yeah. So Una and Rin raid the dry cleaner looking for Bob's human suit. And the guy running it, I think his name was Henry or Hank or something. Basically, like, runs through like a secret wall. Turns out the monsters There's a lot of them, a lot more than I thought there was. Like, there's like a whole freaking army of them, basically. He runs down into like these like catacomb things. They have like a whole secret base under this town. And he goes to tell Bob what's going on. And what's funny, we don't even get to see all of Bob, but you can tell Bob is gigantic.
Yeah.
And Bob's also mad because Bob's in a giant tub and Bob's like, you're interrupting my tub time. That had me laughing really hard. But like, yeah, he's huge. Big fight ensues. A lot of the monsters are fighting against Una in her transformed, her dragon form, and Ren, who is the Abe Lincoln Jr. form, but like a metallic Abe Lincoln Jr. Which was
metal
a really,
Abe Lincoln Jr.
That was a really cool twist to it. So I think that kind of shows the idea of like, I'm just thinking in my head, it's almost like a juxtaposition of in the game, you can like upgrade your costumes and stuff. So she's still Abe Lincoln Jr., but now she's metal, and it gave her some additional powers. Like she can like punch, like has this big fist she can punch with a beard and do other stuff with it. It's pretty cool, but they're not fighting together well at all.
The costumes are driven by imagination. So basically it's like what Ren has supposedly done is just paint her Abe Lincoln Jr. costume that she made silver, and like basically imagining that it's metal now. So now she's got this like permanent metal form. And it was a really cool way of taking advantage of that idea of the show, of the kids using their imagination. It's like whatever you can come up with, that's what's available to you.
I love it. I think that was such a cool idea to just change things up a little bit. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of the fight, like we said, they're not working together as a team very well, Una and Ren, because they're very similar. They're both very bossy, and they're both very stubborn and hot-headed. Una has her way of doing things, and Ren is kind of like the fiery upstart that thinks she knows better. And they just keep getting in each other's way. And eventually, Una gets taken down. She gets hit with like a whole brick wall, basically, gets knocked out. And they see the Bob suit. And Una had told her that she's got to get the suit no matter what. But instead, Ren grabs Una and flies them out of there. To which Una is like, you should have just left me and gotten the suit, because the mission, is what matters. The world's at stake. You can't make decisions like this.
Yeah. She was saying like that basically that she thought Ren was different, but now she sees that she's weak like the others.
Right.
And she'll never succeed if she lets anything matter more than the mission, and that includes friends.
Exactly.
So Una is taking a very hard stance, and basically the mission comes first before anything else. At least at this point in the series.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly why. We're given a few context clues here in that. So Una obviously is saying things like, you got to put the mission over friends. And we're in Una's room. We can see photos of like black and white photos of 4 children. And one of them is a girl that looks like she's got a bit of an attitude. So I'm like, okay, so that's Una as a little girl. They're wearing costumes in some of the photos, and then there's also sort of like that little mural, like you talked about, that look kind of like hieroglyphics of 4 children in costumes. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So Una looks like she was part of like another group of friends from back in the day that was just like Ren's group, basically doing the same thing. So something must have gone wrong back in the day with Una's group of friends to make Una say, you've got to put the mission above your friends, sort of thing.
Right.
And some of that gets, I'm sure, explained a little bit before what happens in the final episode that we watched, but it's definitely revealed to me and you in this next episode.
Yeah, definitely. And so to wrap this one up, though, essentially, like, Una kicks Ren out of the room and just telling her to leave. She's just upset with her because she didn't complete the mission. She chose to save her instead. And that's when Ren goes back to her friends, who are still like bombing it at the little voting concert. And we still see Lucy like trying to sing her death metal. And then Ren comes back to take over. So Lucy goes back to the drums. That's when the people start to gather again because Ren's taken back over as a singer and singing about Una and like the town is number one because Una gets things done, and we're closing out just like the last episode with Una. Like, we're seeing her in the tower, like laying down, and she's hearing this song, and we see her eyes kind of open, like she's kind of realizing that maybe she was too hard on Rin, or at least having some kind of revelation. But it's a very silent scene aside from the music playing, so we're not really sure what she's thinking at the moment. So that carries us on to the last episode we watched for today's show, which was All Hallows Eve, season 1, episode 13. This was the highest rated, and I can understand why. It was also a very full episode, though, because it was while the rest of them are just like 11-minute episodes, this was a whole, like, I think 29 minutes. This was almost a 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
And so it had a lot going on in it. And this one, All Hallows Eve, Halloween night has come. No nougat is safe.
No nougat is safe. That's true. I say that regardless of what day it is. So obviously a lot of things happened leading up to this episode, because when this episode starts, we're like just thrown in the middle of all kinds of stuff happening. For one, Norm is a monster. We didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
But one of those things that's kind of revealed for us is that, like, apparently Norm was one of Ula's friends from back in the day, or Una's. Yeah. Norm was one of Una's friends from back in the day. And, she did not know he was a monster originally. So that must be where some of that anger was coming from. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Bob makes a reference at some point too. Like, Bob may have also been one of them, but I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think he was one of them. I just think he's been the adversary throughout.
That's what I was wondering, because he called her old friend at one point. So that's why I was just kind of wondering about that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So I'm not sure if that was like he was one of them, or if that was just like a sarcastic comment.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't have enough context here to put that together, because we didn't watch the in-between episodes. But
all I know is
am curious.
It's intriguing. Yeah. What also has obviously happened is that Rin and her brother Reynold had obviously had some sort of fight up until this point, and they're reunited, like, right here in the beginning. And there's some sort of, I don't know, there's still some sort of fallout going here. And every time she tries to apologize, she basically gets cut off by somebody else saying something or something happening. So
what they're having to do is basically they have to go home, make their peace with their parents or whatever, or just like basically say their potentially final goodbyes to their parents, which is kind of a heavy topic, but it's really what they were saying. Like, say, hug your parents and tell them goodbye just in case, because they have to go home and get their best costumes, because this is kind of the final battle situation. Because what's about to happen is the monsters, who are the Grubbins, they're about to open a portal and send an unlimited supply of nougat to their dimension, so what nougat does for these monsters is make them go from this like little Grubbin size, which is these tiny, like, think about Space Jam, like the tiny monsters that are really scrawny ones. It makes them grow to full size, like giant, scary monsters when they have nougat.
First Space Jam. We don't know if it's in the new one.
True. Yeah. Original Space Jam.
Yeah. The little guys. And then, they eat the nougat. They become the big guys.
They become monstars.
Yeah. So the kids and Una and Norm have to stop them before they can open the portal and take all that nougat to their homeworld, because then they're going to be unstoppable. And it's kind of a, hey, this is a do or die sort of situation without saying it. So Norm's like, you should go see your families, all that stuff. So we get some like nice warm moments, which is pretty cool. Like, Rin and Reynold, whatever had happened, they end up back at their house, and their parents are carving pumpkins or carving jack-o'-lanterns and ask them to join. And they don't have a lot of time because of what's going to happen. And they decide to carve one together, and they have a lot of fun and are kind of goofing off and stuff. And it was just kind of a nice little moment for them to sort of like reconnect without having to like spill it all out and say, what had happened and everything. So I thought that was a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, and then Everett, we get to see his brother Benji, his older brother. Benji's about to go out on a date with his girlfriend, and or at least just on a date, period. And Everett's warning him to be careful because monsters are real. Like, he's trying to explain everything to him really quickly, but Benji doesn't believe him. He's kind of just telling him to grow up. But he's like, at least take your Lone Rider, which is like a Lone Ranger, knockoff costume with you just in case. And so he does that. Benji does that for him at the very least, which does come back full circle later. And I really appreciated that.
And then Lucy is getting ready, and her mom wanted to take her trick-or-treating and had like created her own costume to go along with Lucy's, and Lucy was in a different one because she's in the costume she needs to go fight. And her mom was just really disappointed when Lucy's like, hey, I need to go with my friends. And like, it just really let the wind out of her sails. She was really sad. So Lucy decides to tell her mom the truth. And she does that by actually demonstrating the costume. And Lucy turns herself into a Grubbin because she made a Grubbin costume, which was really funny. And it was a super cute moment because like the mom was like just so surprised and everything. And then finally just said, you know, it looks cold out there. You should take a jacket. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. And then the little Grubbin dons a jacket, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah, that's great. And I got to talk about that scene when they all show up. They all go into the lair to start fighting the monsters and everything, all the Grubbins. And what I love is Everett's costume, which was, what was it? Danger Man?
Danger Bike Man,
which is like an Evel Knievel stuntman kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when he transforms into all the monsters are just like clapping in awe as he beats them up.
Also,
so funny.
With his costume, he used to be like, he gets a comb to go with it to use as a mustache. And I think Lucy asked him like why he has that. And he's like, oh, well, now Danger Bike Man's a real man instead of a boy or whatever.
Yes.
And so when he transforms, he actually does have a mustache now.
And he's got all this chest hair popping out and everything. It's so funny.
Reynold is a ghost, which was a really cool costume.
That was cool. I was kind of surprised because like everybody else had like, I don't know, like costumes that could really like do some damage, or they could blend in. Like, you know, Lucy could blend in as one of the Grubbins, or, you know, the other two could like beat him up. But his was just sort of he was able to manipulate everything because he was a ghost. Yeah. And that was smart. I love how they animated it.
So these are basically their strongest costumes. That's what Norm had told them to go get. So we had seen these probably throughout the series, and it wasn't until now that they kind of like need to use the best of what they have available. Rin is still her Metal Lincoln Jr., which is awesome. Still has all those beard powers. And Lucy, like we said, is disguised as a monster, now with a coat, or with a jacket at least.
Gotta love it. So they start fighting, and they're winning, but then a nougat vendor shows up, and he's just
oh yeah.
As they're beating up all the monsters and they're becoming weak again, this nougat vendor just starts tossing more nougat to them all, and they're just beefing back up again.
Yeah, when they shrink down, they keep saying they're being grubbinized, like turning back into grubs. So now the monsters keep ungrubbinizing by eating this like unlimited supply of nougat that keeps coming. So essentially in like a stamina fight, like they're going to lose because the monsters have an unlimited supply of this stuff to keep powering back up.
What's funny too is like when when one of the monsters gets like, you know, punched or something and they turn back into the little Grubbin, they just look so pathetic. They look like a deflated balloon with like drool hanging out and like X's for eyes. They get annihilated, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they are absolutely just like tiny creatures that are no threat whatsoever.
It's great. But the portal opens and it's go time. It's we're in a bad spot. Una and Norm are like, hey, we're gonna have to go do a thing. We're kind of out of time now. They go through the portal to go retrieve something that is going to help them in the fight, which leads to this scene that I didn't quite understand, but it made me laugh out loud so hard, where you see those two monsters guarding the portal, and the ones just as Una is in her dragon form coming up with the flame out, she's like, "We go down together, Stan," and the other one's just like, "I have always loved you."
Yeah, I have always loved you, Myrtle. Yeah, and this guy, like before that scene, he was just like screeching when we saw him, and then he just gets like one of those serious anime faces, kind of, and yeah, gets that super deep voice before they get sent back in the portal.
Oh god, that caught me off guard so bad. They got a jar of goo?
Oh, so that's portal goo. Like Norm just kind of grabs it off of the edges of the portal.
Yes.
And then apparently that can be used to power up, I guess, imagination powers or something. I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but
sure.
The secret's not the goo, it's how you use it, according to Norm's dad.
Hey. So let's ditch everything that's happening right now. Let's ditch all of this stuff and run over real quick to the local movie theater where all the little kids are watching Abe Lincoln Jr.'s new movie.
Starring Rudy Toots.
Starring Rudy Toots as Abe Lincoln Jr. Rudy Toots shows up in person, but Rudy Toots is actually a grubbin, and his mask got damaged, so he can't, like, turn into, like, a human like he would. He just has it, like, haphazardly taped to his face, and it looks really bad, and he's standing on the backs of other grubbins with a trench coat over him. And he's trying to explain to these kids what's actually happening because they're on the side of like Rin and the others. And he's just like, this movie was to distract you while monsters who are real are doing something really bad. Like, you know, forget this movie. It was a trap. We got to go and actually fight the real monsters out there. And it's just so funny because he looks like garbage, but the kids are totally buying it.
And he's just like, all right, so instead of watching a movie about saving the world, let's do it for real. Who's with me? And then it's like silence for a second. And then you see this little, like, this kid who's sitting in like a little booster seat. It looks like he's about to start crying because his eyes get kind of glassy. And he's just like, let's do this. He starts cheering and they all go along with him.
Rudy's like constantly like falling over. His arms are like flailing in ways that arms aren't supposed to bend. It just
he's clearly not human anymore.
He looks so gross. Oh god, it's so funny.
But they all still recognize him as Rudy, so they're still cheering for him.
Yeah, it's really good. While Norm and Una were getting the portal goo, they had left the others to basically just try to keep the other monsters from getting the nougat through the portal. And they're using like really big like mine carts to move this stuff along like a track, like a train track. So they end up breaking the track to derail it, and they think that they did it. But then Bob shows up and he eats an entire one of those huge, basically a train car full of nougat. And this dude is kaiju size and scary as heck. That design was crazy, man. I've never seen a design like that before. It was so weird because here's the thing about this. This show is almost all earth tones. And he is these vivid neon colors that are all over the place and strange patterns. And like one of his eye has two pupils instead of one. And he's got like weird zigzags in like a couple of his teeth. And some of his teeth have holes randomly. And it's just, he looks crazy. It was such a weird design, man.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering if he's like a fusion of multiple monsters or something.
I don't know, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was pretty frightening and literally so large he could eat like any of them whole. Like even Una as a dragon wouldn't have been able to stand up to him.
Yeah, not even close. Like Una in her dragon form would be like me. I like to eat pepperoncini peppers. I eat those every lunch. It'd be me like just dropping a pepper into my mouth. Like that's how huge this guy was. It was gigantic. So Una and Norm spill their goo on some amusement park rides and tell the kids to run over there. And so they strap in and they're trying to use their imaginations to power up those rides basically as bigger, like mega costumes, but it's not working. And that's when Rudy Toots shows up with all the other kids. And after a little bit of confusion, they have those kids kind of help use their imaginations in conjunction to give them enough imagination power to turn those into the big, like, giant costumes. Aside from Everett, who couldn't do it until his brother actually shows up in his costume and helps.
His Lone Rider costume.
Yeah. So it came back, which was great.
That's when it encourages him to do it. And so they all get in these giant like mech suits as the rides are turned into these.
Yeah.
So Everett's like a big pumpkin.
I don't know how to describe that thing. It was weird. How it ended up playing out, though, it reminded me a little bit of like Ichabod Goo from Clay Fighter.
And then Lucy was a carousel with all these different animal heads like spinning around.
Yeah.
Reynolds was a giant wooden like prospector. He looked pretty cool. And then Rin was this giant steel dragon, which was really awesome. So they're all just like trying to kick Bob's butt in his giant form because they're actually big enough to do that. And he thinks like that he still got this. He starts to throw the nougat towards the portal, but that's when, Steel Dragon Rin swoops in and takes it. Once they start finalizing their fight, the portal starts closing up. So they're just like kicking all the little grubbins through it, or the grubbins, are running to it to get away, with the exception of Bob, who is just holding out. And he's just like, no, I'm not going to go back in there. You're not going to force me back in. I'm going to rule over this town for another 100 years. That's when like they finally are able to grubbinize him because they're all teaming up on him and knock him through the portal as just this tiny, like insignificant grub form that Bob probably hasn't been in over 100 years at least.
So yeah, he goes through right as it closes, and the day, the town, the world, Halloween is saved.
But then it closes out just like it opens with this like little shaking bush and like a nougat wrapper. So it leaves a little mystery. We're like, oh no, like are there any grubbins that are left aside from the
Rudy
good ones
Toots
like Rudy, friends. Yeah. And because the show, the first episode opened like that too, where like a bush was shaking and a little monster hand came out and grabbed a nougat wrapper.
Exactly.
So I liked that it was kind of a full circle thing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a really, really great episode and a great closing thing. And like the end kind of ends too with all the kids just talking about how cool like each other's costumes were and which one was the best and stuff as the camera kind of pans out, like hours after like the next day, and everybody's just enjoying, the day after Halloween and just talking about how awesome everything was. And that was just a really fun way to close out.
And then Rin, of course, going back to talking about herself and how she's the best, or her costume was the best.
Yes, of course, because it's Rin.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Nougat Town to help save the world from Bob and his monsters, and to munch on some sweet nougat so they can become the full-size monsters they were always meant to be, then see what they thought of the show, Costume Quest.
This cartoon was so great because you get to put on costumes, not just on Halloween, but like any time, and turn into whatever it is and fight big bad monsters and take their nougat. Although, I think I'd rather have other candy than just nougat. Nougat can be kind of gross. And, well, the only costume I have right now is the poop emoji. Aw, dang.
So you're telling me if I use my imagination, even though all my teachers have told me to stop, that I could transform into whatever fictional character I want? Well, interdimensional mega hero Abe Lincoln Jr. would have been my first choice, but what's left? A blank-faced William Shatner mask, a bucket of white paint, and a gray jumpsuit? Ooh, I've got a killer plan. Oh, and also Costume Quest is a super cool show with fun characters that I'm excited to watch more of. But first, it's time to debut my fanfic OC, interdimensional mega slasher Michael Myers Jr., now with knife-chucking jetpack action.
Your inner kid found a way to make Michael Myers more dangerous for Halloween.
Yeah, with this knife-chucking jetpack action, of course.
Fair enough. I like it. Speaking of things that we like, what are some of the things that you liked about this show? I'm sure there's quite a few.
I really enjoyed the plot of this show a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I thought I would like the show just because of it being in general about trick-or-treaters and Halloween, but the plot was really interesting. Like, monsters disguised as adults in order to steal all the nougat and take over, plus kids who can transform into cool new forms based on the power of imagination. I think that's awesome, and I love that idea. Plus, like, the comedy writing in the show is right up my alley. It's sort of all over the place, but it never relies on in-your-face slapstick, at least not from what we saw. And it doesn't spoon feed it to you either. It's like just enough levity without distracting from the overall plot. And it's got kind of I don't know, like I don't even know how to word it, but it's subtle in a way.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I think that the plot was really, really good. They found a really cool way to make it interesting, tell a really fun and funny story, and still keep the core idea mechanic from the video game of the costumes turning you into something, and then also have this whole cool lore and everything that goes along with it. Man, they did such a really good job with it. And the art style too is something that really stood out to me. I loved the aesthetic of everything, and I'm kind of surprised because usually I like the more vivid colors and stuff, but I think it's a blend of how they did the color and how they actually designed the characters and everything. It just flowed really well, and it felt really good because there was a lot of, you use the word subtlety. There's a lot of subtlety in the design and stuff too, especially in like the backdrops and things like that. And with all those earthy tones, whenever there was a brighter color or something on screen, man, it made that really pop out. So then when something like Bob's true form is revealed, it makes it so much more visceral because it feels like such an intrusion on the overall world because he is so colorful and so bright where everything else fits a standard and then he does not. And I think that was really cool.
I agree. I agree with all of that. But as far as what I didn't like, it's nothing huge. But for me, like, I'm just kind of tired of core group of kids having to have like a selfish one. Just like there are other personality traits. Like, I just wish they would kind of use more of those. If I had to bring anything up, it would just be Rin kind of was annoying me at certain times. I just felt like she had her moments, and I think she eventually completed her personal character arc of like learning the value of teamwork. I get like some kids are like that, but if I had to complain about anything, it would have just been that.
Yeah, I don't really have much that I disliked. At least nothing I can really think of. But actually, to piggyback off what you said, because I didn't really think about it, but you did touch something there that has me thinking, and I would agree with that. I think, I guess thinking about it now, for me, the fact that 3 episodes in, I have a really good feel for Ren's personality, and I've got a really good feel for Norm and for Una, the bad guys, some of the tertiary characters like Rudy Toots. I have a good feel for Lucy, who's one of the core characters, but I don't feel like I know Reynold or Everett. Like I don't feel like I have a gauge on their personality type, how they would make decisions, anything like that. So I think that based on that maybe there wasn't enough development of those 2 characters, which are supposed to be 2 of the main characters in the whole thing. You've got a group of 4 kids, and I only really can figure out 2 of them. So I think that might be a little bit of a misstep. Now, obviously there's plenty of other episodes we haven't seen, so I'm sure some of this is addressed. But the fact that we've seen 3, and I do feel like I have my finger on the pulse of everybody else, leads me to think that, maybe my complaint there isn't completely unfounded. But I guess we'll see.
So what would you rate this show?
I mean, this ended up being so much better than I expected it to be, especially since it was adapted from a video game. Because I mean, if history has taught us anything, it's shown us that video game adaptations can go very horribly wrong. But the developers of the show just really took the ball and ran with it and made it into something really special that has me super intrigued and really ready for Halloween. The best holiday of all. And it really taps into that beautiful nostalgia of childhood friendships and roaming the neighborhood and going on adventures as a kid. So I gave this cartoon 5 bowls of Monster Tub Time cereal out of 5. And I got to say, I do want to watch the rest of this series.
Yeah, overall, I'd also give Costume Quest 5 big bowls of Grubbanized Monster Munch cereal out of 5. And I think whether you're a kid who's looking forward to many more years of trick-or-treating to come, or just an adult who wants to snack on a little candy-coated nostalgia, you'll have a great time with this cartoon. And the humor, it's so good. Like, it tops it off so well.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like if I could try to describe all of the aspects of this show using other shows that we have seen, I was getting vibes where I feel like they've taken almost like all the best parts of other things that we've seen, and it's been rolled into this delicious candy treat for us to unwrap. It feels like almost like to me an amalgamation of like Over the Garden Wall, The Misadventures of Flapjack, and Gravity Falls. Like if all of those things could be rolled into one little piece of candy, I think that's it.
Even though some of those shows came after, I absolutely agree that it did have a lot of the same stylings as far as the adventure of just friends kind of going up against greater forces, especially kids. Like, those are kind of some of my favorite movies too, you know, like where it is kids up against, I mean, it's Stranger Things, essentially, before Stranger Things.
It's Stranger Things, it's Monster Squad, it's Super 8,
E.T.,
it's Goonies, it's E.T., it's all of those things. It's
Stand By Me, it's all those stuff, yeah.
Great classic group of kids against greater odds movies.
So thank you, Gamer Sly Ratchet 1, for suggesting this to us. It was a show I didn't know that I needed in my life, but now, just like you, Chris, I'm definitely going to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciated this. I am so excited to watch more of it. It's probably going to start tonight, so I am ready. Before we head out, we do have 2 5-star reviews with comments for me to read on Apple Podcasts. This first one is from DL and Fan, who says, I love this podcast. Please check out the web series Sunset Paradise. Thank you so much for that 5-star review. And I will check out that web series Sunset Paradise. I've never heard of. And the other one, this other 5-star review is from Slippery Pete, which if you ever have Slippery in your name, that's just going to crack me up, man. That's funny. Slippery Pete says, great podcast. Hey guys, love the pod. Thanks for showing me what a dumb kid I was by pointing out the flaws and giant plot holes in some of my favorite childhood cartoons. Also, young Chris sounds like he ate a lot of paste as a kid. You're not wrong. It would be much appreciated if you would someday do a review of Archer. Thanks. Oh yeah, we will totally. We'll get Archer in that list. I love Archer.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both for the 5 stars. Those are awesome.
Thank you so much to both of you for listening, for leaving a review. We really appreciate that. And yeah, I probably did eat a lot of paste when I was a kid.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, for the last episode of our OCTOONBER celebration, we'll be watching
Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktacular, suggested via Twitch by Sarah George Music.
Oh man, we looked at the animation for this one, and it has me a little worried.
This is why we picked it, because everyone has been telling us, Sarah picked this one, but everyone has been telling us to please do this. Everyone tells us it's so good, it's so nostalgic, it was their childhood, they love it. But it looks like garbage, guys. It looks so gross. But I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, we gave Howard Lovecraft a shot. We gave Adventures of Panda Warrior a shot, so we got to try this one.
We got to, and maybe it'll surprise us. Maybe it'll be a great story. Maybe the story will make up for, what we're going to subject our eyeballs to.
I hope so. Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.